See, normally institutes have interview program and they have a panel mock usually. So most institutes call this panel mock as the interview program. But what we did at Laex is not just a program but a course of 3 months duration. And because course consists of syllabus, and syllabus we usually call them units, so let us call this course in terms of certain units. Unit 5 like this. The course begins with what we call pre-mock exercises. That is, before a mock, a candidate will be given certain practice session. This is done by Satish. And next, in this unit, there is a discussion of transcripts, and this is done by Rambabu. And then one very innovative program is what is called hackathon, where students stay at a place outskirts and they are exposed to many guest lectures and an occasion to interact with one another. This will be explained by Satish. And then we have panel marks. Like what others have. And another thing is, it's where I played a most important role, that is Unit 5. This we can say is one-on-one sessions. One-on-one sessions with me. Number 1, one-on-one with group of students. This is the most important part of the program. What I do is, I sit with student like this, and it is a 30-minute mock. And this mock is watched by students. And at the end of the mock, we go for detailed discussion of his performance, question-wise, overall. And before the discussion, I ask for the feedback each student who is attending. First of all, it is useful to watch an interview, that's one. And next, during the feedback session, they will be giving their feedback. Their feedback is based on what they think is the right answer. So which means you are guiding not simply this candidate but others also. And then on a notice board, we discuss why I think like this, why I think is the right answer, and why students think something else is the right answer. So this goes on for 45 minutes like that. It means we are spending more than an hour and subjecting it to a close scrutiny. What I called pre-mock takes place before this by Satish. So this is one very important session. And here I would like to tell you what is it that I think makes a good answer. Makes a good answer from interview point of view. I am saying these things briefly here. I insist that the student should come direct to the question first. Direct first. Very clear, direct, simple answer. And then go for elaboration. Elaboration next, but direct first and then elaboration. Because if the student is cut off in the middle, he will have the satisfaction that he conveyed the essence of his answer. This is one. And next, I prefer somewhat critical perspectives. I normally don't encourage balanced answers. I encourage students to be bold and critical and give a perspective and then face questions. Face questions. Give an answer and face questions. This first answer comes out of previous preparation, but of course tuned to the question. But after that, questions will come from the first answer. I want the student to be alive to the conversation. This is very, very important. Alive to the conversation. So which means give your first answer from preparation and then be alive. Let your answer be critical, then be alive. By alive means, if there is a question 1 and answer 1, question 2, don't answer in a way that you defend this answer. No. Look at this question afresh, which I call alive. Being alive. And then answer. And next Q3. It's like this. Because I insist on the candidate being alive, he doesn't have to be so much cautious about first answer. He answers in a way that it invites questions and then goes on like this. So direct, critical, face questions, okay. And then there is one more thing which I encourage, that is, I want the student to have a strategy. To me, interview is not like medical examination where the doctor examines. This is like an active strategy. I insist on proactive approach. Proactive approach. Candidate, see, just the board wants to know certain things or personality about the candidate through questions. What I want is that I want the student to reveal his personality to the board through answers. So it is not only that the board is actively trying to find out, but the candidate is actively trying to tell about himself. Okay. But here my intervention is, what is it that he should actually try to tell about himself? It is here, interestingly, before the one-to-one session, I take not only DAF, but also questionnaire based on DAF. Based on DAF. So I have DAF and also I have answers to the questionnaires based on DAF, which means I have reasonable information before my one-to-one. And from this, I see whether a candidate can have overall strategy. From this overall strategy, he can go in a distinct approach. For example, should he highlight the fact that he is from political science, or took interest in anthropology, or particular hobby, or government job, or private sector job, so exposure to any foreign country. Anyway, in fact, our interview course begins soon after the result in what I call DAF filling session. DAF filling session. Okay. It is here I want the candidates to fill the DAF in such a way that it will have influence on interview. Okay. What hobbies they should, job experience. So essentially, I ask them to fill DAF in such a way to generate questions. Students usually think that they have to mention hobbies, whereas my approach is not to mention hobbies, but rather think in terms of what is it that you want to tell in the board? What questions it will generate? So I do everything from the viewpoint of questions that will generate. Okay, so that's how DAF filling and overall strategy and distinct approach. But let me tell you, I don't think this strategy works for everybody. It works for some people. So some people have some very clear, distinct things to say, but some just don't have. Okay, but try to figure out whether there is some distinctness in the person's DAF, and then I want the candidate to steer the conversation towards that distinctness, which means he prepares certain questions, okay, and then he answers in such a way that he gets questions on these areas, invites questions. Okay, so it is not a passive approach. Direct, elaborate, and then I would say twist in such a way that you invite them to a conversation. Okay, so it means with an overall approach. So this is the approach, and this approach we discuss with the candidate, and then subjected to the scrutiny of the group. Okay, so this is the most elaborate, most important part of the course. And next, we do one-on-one without a group. This is strictly one-on-one without a group. So here I discuss the performance of one-on-one with the group, and then any personal issues, and then sometimes some more additional practice. Okay, and then after this is with these two sessions, most important intervention is over. But after that, if he has questions, because he takes marks at other places, he will share feedback with me and then make certain modifications if needed to change to his approach. Or if some errors are identified, and then I say that this is how you should change, and then he will tell me that how much he has changed in various marks and what is the feedback. So it means this is a continuous touch. So I will be in touch till he is facing the interview. So this is one important unit of interview course. Next, last. This I can say is Unit 6. Unit 6. Tests. Tests provided a very important source of knowledge and critical thinking to the interview students. What is this test? It is like this. I give material which includes certain PDF documents or some videos to watch. Okay. And then I go for a test. Test with an expiry date. Okay. What is this test? Test in a very unusual way has two parts. Objective tests, objective questions, multiple choice, and then one 70-word answer. 70-word answer. Okay. So why objective type test? Because I want the student to go through this material, PDFs or videos, and then get prepared. Instant evaluation. And then I evaluate the 70-word answer. How do I evaluate the 70-word answer? This evaluation is done not from a written mains point of view, but from interview point of view. Directness. Next, elaborate. Judgment. Okay. Any invitation? Invitation means, is he inviting towards particular line? Okay. So I don't want the student to simply summarize this material and then see. So if the candidate has done this, even if this is not there, I give 5 out of 5. Okay. But if the candidate does something much more innovative, I may give even 6 by 5. And if a candidate is making some mistakes from interview point of view, I give 0. 0 here means your approach is wrong. If it is a mains answer, they will get some marks, but in an interview, to say that this approach is wrong, I'll give 0. And then 1 sometimes. Okay. So I noticed that some students start with the zeros, and then after some trials, they make it to 5. So 5 is a target. Okay. And then one interesting thing is that I post this 70-word answer in a Telegram group. Post this. So Telegram post will look like this. There is a question and there is answer and candidate and marks. Marks, essay question, and then the total marks, like this. Okay. And we conducted 40 plus tests like this. It means candidates were asked to go through 40 plus topics and then think. And also this is an article, but actually to do the test well and to answer this question, they have to really know more than what the article says. So I expect the candidates to do something around that topic. If they have done something, revise. If they are not very clear, watch videos that interest them. So this is the material that I am giving is the basic material. Okay, tests will come from that. But you can't expect that if you don't know the topic, you will understand everything from that article. So they read. So essentially, the material that I give is like a focus point that enables common discussion. Whereas individuals study other things also. And this had a very, very big impact because only one answer is chosen. Students want to see their answers. Okay, and it gave very good competition. Okay, and then after that they respond, and also I give feedback. In fact, the software that I use itself has a feedback, and then sometimes I give feedback in Telegram. And then it also generates discussion because this is an answer everybody discusses. Okay. So interestingly, in this entire course, we did not have classes. There were no classes. There were no interview classes as such. Okay. But then we covered a lot of syllabus through these tests. So what I've learned from this interview program, and the students struggled to do these tests well, is that I understood that the students are willing to work hard, they have the motivation, but a teacher should set the nearest goal well. What is the nearest goal that the student should achieve? for me doing that test, the nearest goal, and establish the link between the nearest goal and the final goal. And this link should be transparent, open, open for the discussion with the students. So some were getting zeros. Then I asked, why did you continue with this test writing? Why didn't you simply drop the program or at least drop the test? They didn't drop because they saw some rationale in this. So they did want to do well. Okay. And many didn't write the test, but those who are not writing the test just were using these questions and answers and formulating their own opinions on the basis of that. Okay. So it is why I think this program is very important is that previously I have offered many interview courses, but the problem with the interview course is the students just want only practice, speaking practice. They don't want to read, they don't want to attend classes, they don't want to learn anything new. They only want practice. Okay. During the main test series also they want practice. During the interview they want practice. There is no learning. So, but I realize that if in the assignments like this, students are really learning, reading something new. In the beginning in objective type test, they would get 0 because they won't care to go through the material because they think that they know it. But once they get a 0, they'll see that they have to go through the material. So over a period of time, students realized that the best way to do this test is to go through the material and clarify questions, watch extra videos or whatever, but be fully prepared before taking the test. So through tests, I had control. So it means the candidate is not leaving after one-on-one interview. Because he is writing the test, I have control, or I have a way of monitoring them till their interview date. Okay. So this is about unit 6. Okay. Last thing about what does it mean? The most important lessons we have learned in this course is that these tests are very important and hackathon is very important, and we want to use the lessons we learned in this interview course in our next rapid revision program. It will have a hackathon as well as tests. Hackathon for few days, 15 days, and later interaction will continue. So, and this is merit based selection obviously. So this is what I learned, and we are really pleased with the results. Okay. In fact, this interview course had much more demand. We took only the candidates from Telugu states plus students from Laex, Bengaluru. We had much more demand than we took. Okay. So this is what happened. So I made everything clear. Thank you. In this course, students are made to study and learn even new things. The way I did was article. For example, this is on money bill. So I make the student go through this article. Okay. And after that, I conduct a test. This test consists of MCQs and a 50-word question. Okay. Why MCQs? Because through MCQs, instant testing is possible, and students will be forced to go through the article more accurately and more carefully. So I found this is innovative approach. And then a 50-word question. And then this I will evaluate. This is automatically evaluated. And this has an expiry date. Okay, so that the students don't postpone, just like that. And then I go through answers and give feedback. And I identify the best answer and okay. See, for example, this is the question. What are your thoughts on the recent use of Article 110? Okay. How certain things are called money bills and Rajya Sabha excluded. And then, is democracy being undermined? Okay. So, Sweta, who wrote answer to this, is given 5 by 5. And then, including an objective type test, her score is 11 by 11. So, full marks. So, and then look at her answer. Indian parliamentary system is based on a series of checks and balances, Rajya Sabha scrutiny against hasty legislation being one among them. So she is explaining the role of Rajya Sabha. Categorization as money bills to avoid Rajya Sabha scrutiny doesn't augur well. She is simply saying doesn't augur well with the core principles of democracy. And then, as a way forward, she is saying discussions within the constitutional bench might offer insights because judgment is not yet delivered. And so she is saying that they may suggest something. Okay. So, explanation and then possible way out. So, that is why I gave full marks. Okay. Like this, let us see some slides. This one. Indian government hailed that elections in Bangladesh were held successfully. Are they successfully held? Do you know why I gave this? Because Indian government said, and I want to see whether the candidate can clearly disagree with the government. So Kaushik says, it's like this. No, with all the major opposition parties boycotting elections, mere 40% voter turnout, clearly indicating lack of trust among the people in the process. Instances of electoral malpractices, violating principles of free and fair election, which according to me doesn't fulfill the basic principles. Okay. Oh, Sweta got 179, Kaushik 193. So this is how 5 by 5, 13 by 13. So this is how I see whether candidate has the judgment finally. So this evaluation is evaluation based on what makes a good answer in the interview and not mains. I believe the answers in the interview should have judgment, okay, and should state candidates' values. So it is in that way I evaluate these answers. Let us take one more slide. Okay, this is about farmers still. So the question is it better to go for income support policies for farmers, doing away with variety of subsidies? So, so this question itself is more advanced. It says it is suggesting a solution and asking the candidate to evaluate. So in fact, the question that I give can sometimes go beyond the material that is provided to them. So this suggests a solution, but asking the candidate to evaluate this particular solution. And Srinivasulu says, income support policies are relatively better than subsidies. Okay. And then it also says MSP suppresses the prices of crop directly and indirectly, the farmers' potential to earn more as they are curbs on exports and not opening up the market for large players. So basically, this answer is in defense of agricultural reforms proposed. But then it says maybe it's time to reintroduce the farm laws after educating the farmers about the benefits they can get, and if possible with demonstrative effect by achieving in 2 or 3 states. So the student proposes a solution and then answers this question and then says something more. It's a very good answer. And sometimes I give a comment on why I chose this particular answer. For example, I said I chose this answer because it shares a rare insight that MSP as practiced today is actually hurtful to the farmers, because MSP, they buy, government buys, and then market prices are hugely suppressed. So they are not getting remunerative prices because of MSP. This is one way to think about. So this is how I give a comment. And also these answers provide a platform or an occasion for the students to discuss the issue among themselves. And during the interview course, I covered 42 topics like this. Okay. And students found it very useful and results are very satisfactory. For example, 10 of the people who made it crossed 170 marks, okay, 170 to 200. Dheeraj Reddy, Kaushik, Bonasri, 170. These are the ranks. These are the marks from 200 to 170. 193, 184, 179, 175, like this. And surprisingly, there are some who got very high scores, though they didn't get a service. Anjana 193, Vikram Simha 185, 187, 184, 183. So these are 10 and these are 5. So this is from the same batch. So I found this way of making the students read, write, discuss, judge and compare the answers among themselves is a very good method. And the article selection also is important. I chose in such a way that they are made to think critically on that issue. So I am very happy with this kind of program, because of which I am planning to introduce in mains also. Okay, it is the same style program. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to Excellence IAS. So this video is about the interview guidance program that we have done this year, and how our interview guidance program at Excellence is different from the other IGPs at other institutions. What is the speciality of our IGP program? What is the uniqueness of our IGP program? That is what I am going to explain in this video. So as Venkatmohan sir and others have said, other institutions have done IGP programs and we have also done IGP programs. But the difference is their program is generally called as a program. But ours is not a program, ours is a course, as sir was saying, because we are not just doing the panel mocks, but more than panel mocks. In other institutions, if they are saying it is a interview guidance program, it is just a panel mock. Here we are doing multiple things, and these multiple things are, of course, first it is pre-mocks, then it is transcript discussion by Rambabu sir, then it is hackathon program, then it is panel mocks, then one-on-one with Venkat Mohan sir. So these are the different levels that we have done during our interview guidance program. One-on-one and sixth, some tests also have been conducted by Venkat Mohan sir. So Venkat Mohan sir has explained the process of what sir has done through this one-on-one program and also in this test. And Rambabu sir will tell about the transcript discussions and what are these transcript discussions, what is the objective of this transcript discussion, what is the outcome and the purpose will be discussed by Rambabu sir. Myself, I have handled pre-mocks, hackathon and panel mocks, and I will just give you a brief on these three parts of the IGP program. First one is pre-mocks. So what is a pre-mock? So generally students have trouble facing interview, and that is why before the original mock, we have had original interview. Everyone goes through a mock, but now generally even students are facing trouble going for mocks. They'll say, I have not prepared enough, so I have a problem facing a mock. To remove those fears and to make and to bring students out of that fear, to make it easy for to attend mock interview, we have started a pre-mocks. What these pre-mocks are like general mocks, like experienced myself and other colleagues at La Excellence like Shilpa ma'am, others who have faced multiple interviews. We sit on the mock and we'll call a student. And it is not as serious as mock or an interview, but definitely it will also have, we will ask relevant questions to you. And here we'll not judge you as much as a mock or an interview. We'll just give you, okay, basic things that you need to adjust. You like, it's kind of a motivation thing of kind of thing where you will be forced to come out of your shallowness or forced to come out of your groove. We encourage you to talk, we encourage you to push yourself, to communicate. So basic things of your communication, of your interview, of your analysis of the things will be addressed in this pre-mock. So pre-mock is a mock between before a mock, and it is to encourage students to come out and speak before a panel without much hesitancy, without much fear. It is basic objective is to remove that fear from the students and to come out. Even the first day after the results have been announced, you can come and just arrange for a pre-mock and give whatever you want to talk, just talk. Okay, this removes the fear from you about communicating, about interview, etc. So this is the objective of a pre-mock. Then next thing is hackathon. So hackathon is a program which was designed where we take students out of this place, Ashok Nagar, and we'll put them at a place for 2 to 3 days. And assume that around 50, 60 students who are going to interview come together and stay together, eat together for 3 days. And the horizontal learning that you gain from this exercise. This is not just about horizontal learning. The important aspect of this is we do invite the guest speakers. Speakers includes like senior IAS officers, IPS officers like Somesh Kumar sir, AK Khan sir, GHP Raju sir, and other field experts like Govind Rajlu sir, who was the NABARD chairman, former NABARD chairman, so, and many other field specialists and seniors from different fields will be invited to talk, to give a perspective on the different issues. Why this course or why this practice? Because see, generally during our preparation, whether it's prelims, mains, what happened is we have learned so much of theory, but we don't exactly know the practical aspects of the things. So if you take policing as an aspect, you know many things about the theoretical aspects, but you don't know the practical aspects of the things. So here, when you interact with the senior IPS officers and the senior IAS officers, you will learn the practicality of what you have learned through your 3 years. So that was the major objective, and you, in that 3 days, you will interact with these senior officers and senior people with experience from different fields. This will happen through lectures, and also they will be available for one-on-one with you. You can talk one-to-one with them. So this gives a lot of insights into the application part of the theory that we have learned till now. So this is the second, and this is also one of the important aspect of Laex IGP program, and this we have been doing from last 2 years, and this was a very successful program. And third one is a panel mock. Panel mock is the mock generally where other institutions just conduct one mock and say that that is their IGP program. And this is just an aspect in our IGP program. We do conduct panel mock. I don't want to take the names who will be part of this panel mock, because most of them are those who have been to UPSC as the panel members. They participated in UPSC interviews as panel members, and they know the art of interviewing. They know the criteria of interviewing. So this will be conducted at Prasashan Nagar. So this is the third aspects which have dealt with, where you will have an exact evaluation or relevant up to the mark evaluation by the senior officers, and you will get to understand what is a real interview is. This is the almost near to experience with your real interview, and this is the aspect of our IGP program. So the other aspect, transcripts discussion. What is transcript discussion and what is the objective and purpose of this will be discussed by Rambabu sir. Thank you.
Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Yesterday, Venkat Mohan sir wanted me to do a video on transcript session. How I do transcript sessions during interview guidance program. Many of the toppers have recommended these sessions to many of the students too. So then what is the uniqueness of this? How you are creating a good environment, understanding of the interview through these transcript sessions. To understand this, first we need to know what is a transcript. Remember this way. How many of you have experienced the board? Many a times, your recollection of the board is short-lived. Immediately when a student comes out, we try to collect the transcript of his interview from him. The transcript is nothing but a speaking document of the student's interview. Now, as every student has a personality, a board also has a personality. I strongly believe that. At least in every board, the constant element is the board chairman. In this case, there is a typical pattern for the board chairman to start an interview. Most of the times, when you start the interview on a good note, you feel confident about completing that interview. Let me put it this way. Consciously or unconsciously, students start evaluating their interview while they are in the board itself. I never recommend that, but still that happens unconsciously. If you start interview on a good note, then automatically your confidence, adrenaline levels during the interview will be very high, and you do damn good interview. So the first point which I am stating here is transcripts are the mind of the board. So transcript is a speaking document. It explains the mind of the board. I will also show you that. Second, every board also has something called a personality. So transcript is the speaking document. Board has a personality. And this personality has certain patterns. Third thing is how the student sees the personality test, How the board sees the personality test is very different. Student sees this test has certain disconnected questions many a times. Board considers that as a series of flow of thoughts. It means based on your answer, they try to ask the questions. Through that, they want to check into your personality. They want to look into your mind. So your answers becomes the basis for further questioning. So every topic, more or less, it starts in a similar way, ends in a similar way. In this, the dynamic variable is your answer. See carefully. Let us take gender sensitization question. So in Manipur, Indian Army is involved with certain human rights violations, especially concerned with women. How do you react to this? So here you have to reflect gender sensitization. Then how you give the answer, interview deflects in that particular direction. Then what you need to do? So okay, women issues are there. Women empowerment is one thing. Why empowerment of the women is necessary? So let's dissect that question. What is empowerment? How women contribute towards the economy, society. All these together you make one opinion, one consolidated opinion. Once you make that consolidated opinion, the sequence of thoughts and opinions you put in your answer, they will be convincing. So avoiding the randomness in the interview, it's the objective of my transcript sessions. So objective is to avoid randomness and deflection. The students move randomly from one point to the other point without consolidating their particular opinion. I want to avoid that particular randomness. So in this case, what I do is, I will take one board transcript. First, I will do only the chairman questions. What is the chairman question over there? Let us take chairman's certain people, they try to comfort you first. I liked mostly the Air Marshal Bonesley Sir board. He will give you time to settle down before starting an interview. So do you like to have some water? Do you like to use paper and pen to express your thoughts? Like that he will comfort you, then he will start the interview. And certain boards, they will directly come into the question, and the most favorite question to the board and most unfavorite question to the students when they are giving repeated attempts is this: what are you doing since your graduation? When this question is asked, student gets into defensive mode. So what am I doing? So in this case, student already have a fear conception to that question. If this question comes, how shall I give a convincing answer? So in this case, if your mind is pre-prepared for this kind of questions, then your thoughts will flow, will fly. So last year, one of the student was asked the similar question. Now pushing him to the wall, the board has further asked, are you living on the goodwill of your family? So then you have to show that you are a productive human resource for this country. You are not just a free rider on your family. So in this case, if you see these particular transcripts, how best this question can be handled, and second, how worse the question can go from the board, every extremity you will know. So that's where I will create questions. I categorize the questions. So first what I do is I do the chairman questions and I categorize them as defensive questions first, where student feels defensive and does a mistake. And the second thing is, there are certain areas where student can explain his innovation of thought. Board never wants to punish you, board wants to understand you. So in this case, the board, you need to explain from your own experience what has happened around. So that's where what I do is, I will construct the things. Construction of the things means, so from small, why, so women empowerment. So why women has to be empowered? Give me reasons. Now empowerment of the women, is it good for the stability of the society? Empowerment of the women, live-in relationships, or these, something related to the empowerment. Next is how we have to ensure job security for women. Like that, I will ask them, keep on asking questions. That is what I call it as scenario building. For a particular situation, I work on the scenario building. Rural development, startups. Like that, I take various scenarios. So startups. So most of the times it has been said that Indian startup ecosystem is very strong. Then let us compare this and let us get certain facts. Is it true? So let's question the basics. That is my approach. So are we being fed by the media? Are our basics and facts right or not? Israel population, Israel ecosystem, wealth created by Israel. Germany's ecosystem. So is India spreading too thin across the startups? Let us take Israel. Agro startups, defense startups are very strong. Now India is spreading across the sectors in the startups. So that's why we have to check the facts. And I want to tease the mind of the students on each and every topic. Then based on that, again I will come back. I will give them the transcript questions. What I do is I categorize the questions based on the topic which the board has asked. Based on that, I create certain 30 to 40 scenarios and I'll work with them on those particular scenarios. Let us take one question which last 3 years board is repeatedly testing is how to make India a superpower. So how you want to see India by 2047. So if your mind is prepared, what is your vision for India by 2047? Your mind is prepared for that. You can get a sixer. That is one. A prepared mind can give the best answer. So a thoughtful mind. So then what are the obstacles to become a superpower? So my scenario will be India as a superpower by 2047. So one of the question was asked is this. By 2047, what do you think will be the size of Indian economy? So here you have to show your process of thinking to the board. It means that today this is the size of the economy. I am expecting India's growth to be around 8 to 9% every year. If I make it compounding, so by 2047, I expect Indian economy to be of this particular size. So it means that you are not just throwing a number at them. You are also logical and you are trying to explain that through that particular logic. So these kind of personality traits through the scenario building, I try to work on that. So women issues, India as superpower, startup ecosystem in India, and the next is sports culture in India. Like that, I take the scenarios, and these scenarios, I don't frame my questions. I collect and accumulate all the questions at one single place, and these questions, I dissect them so that you come to a particular opinion. This is what I do. So let me explain this by showing one transcript of the Satyavati ma'am. The first point which I told is, every board has a personality. See, what are you doing since 2021? When this question has come, obviously this is a defensive question. The next is, explain judicial intervention, activism and judicial overreach. Why that question was asked? He is a law graduate. That is related to his background education. So that's where. So is this question? So it is related to law. That's how I will write it down. Next is, I call this as opening question. Next, then further following on, is judicial overreach right? What is about activism? What is about activism? So it means I take these two questions. So if a political science student goes to the exam, probably these questions can be asked. So I keep them aside. So this is a judiciary related questions. It is also related to law as an optional. And the next is current affairs, OTT regulation. This is related in the news. So I talk it as, I will write it down as regulation of OTT, regulation of movies, and then movies and building our national identity building, soft diplomacy. What all the questions which can be possible, I will just note it down. Next is constitution, basic structure doctrine. So these all questions are asked because law is the optional there. Next is, let's go to the next interview board. So next candidate 2, if you observe, is from NIT Trichy and he is from Tamil Nadu. The question started is the same. What are you doing currently? So don't you see a personality and a pattern in a given board? Right. After that, why do you choose civil services? Why not other services? Why are you not going to the IT sector? So from this, they can go to the different aspects of your career they can speak about. But if you see carefully, don't you see that we have a personality to the board over here? Yes, we have a personality to the board to demonstrate. So in this case, again, defensive question, why? Right, what after graduation? What after college? Like this, I categorize the questions. There is a lot of work. And the next is, let's go through another interview. What schemes government have brought for MSMEs? How Mudra helping, how it is different. So it means this is related to small, medium enterprises. Small, medium enterprises. And the next is, so again, SIDBI, Industrial Development Bank. So all these questions, okay, banking in India. Like this, I categorize the questions. I bring all these questions and the related scenario to one place. And then I discuss them in the transcript discussions. Because of this, on any topic, let's take banking sector. I give this opinion, which was given by Mr. Muzammil Khan, who got All India rank 22nd in 2016, I think. The answer is this. The statement, banking will stay, banks may not. What is the future of banking? When this question is asked, he made a simple statement, which is a reflection of his wisdom. Banks may not stay, but banking will stay. Like that, every year from various transcripts and highest scored students, I collect their opinions and how they have expressed those opinions, and I will also prepare my notes. The accumulation of wisdom of all these 3 years is my transcript session. So hope I was able to explain to you what is my transcript session, how I work through, and this entire work unconsciously builds the personality of the board into the personality of the student. That is what I do in the programs. And then I test how they have transformed through interviews which are being conducted by the board, through one-on-one sessions of Venkat Mohan sir. Like that interview program, Satish sir's micro mocks or pre-mocks they call it as, because students go to the mocks directly. No. First, they have to understand the pre-mock, how the environment will be. So they have to remove the fear from mock. Second thing is, they have to understand the boards, how the board thinks. That's where they come to interview transcript sessions. Then they do one-on-one sessions. They see how others are answering, how they are answering sessions. After that, they have to do the mocks. We request them to do the mocks across the various institutions. And believe me, this year, our average interview mark has gone by 26 marks. That's a remarkable improvement. Gaining marks in the interview is relatively easy. Right? All of you have a good personality, but presenting that to the board is very critical. That is what is this program. Thank you very much.